Hey everyone out there on Twitch. Welcome to 10 Paces. We're keeping it real nice, real calm. Maybe you wanna grab a glass of warm milk. Maybe you wanna cuddle up with your squishmallow. But we're keeping it real calm and collected. Nice chill stream. Hoping you're all here to really relax and just kind of, let those worries of the day slip away. And joining me here, I have Dakota, Wazahi,
Hello.
and if you wouldn't mind talking just a little bit more, making sure we've got those levels nice and even keel.
Hello, this is me talking at normal volume, I think.
Yeah, that's okay. Looks like we're good.
I assumed you were just going to mute me.
Not intentional, anyway.
Yeah, right, I forgot that's usually not a bit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna draw a little Betty Pie friend here. How you doing this fine Thursday?
Doing okay.
That's good to hear.
I accidentally took a little too much melatonin last night. So,
Ah, so
boy,
now you're still in it tonight.
yep.
Well, that's okay, because this is a nice place to, pull up a blankie, maybe sit on a beanbag, ottoman, chase lounge, whatever's available,
Didn't
and
even
just
know
kind of,
about it, but I was in theme for the stream.
and that's what we live for here. We're here to
Literally live for it.
accommodate.
It's a curse Travis won't let me stop.
Yeah, he's my little sleepy captive.
Heard of Stockholm Syndrome? What about Sleep Home?
You stuck here in naptime land, and you know what? That's okay.
Don't even think about looking for the key.
Yeah, don't. That's not a very restful thought. Oh, looks like we got some gamblers out there.
Oh my god.
That's fun, but I hope they don't get too excited and take your lumps with your wins and just enjoy it. Really take it in. What have you been up to since we last broke on
Um,
Monday?
Lots of work, lots of trying to fix my sleep schedule. Not doing that last one too successfully.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it's tough, but that's what we're here for.
yeah, starting to break into some better habits in general, things I lost sight of. Just, the whole thing of like everyone our age, you know, exercise more, eat healthier, sleep better.
Yeah, I
Just trying to
understand
peck away.
entirely.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's a
Yeah.
big world out there. Lots going on.
If
Give
it
me one
wasn't
sec
for
while I mute and clear my throat.
I hope it's the loudest sound you've made all day to contrast what you're doing now. I hope you're just fucking roaring. The cat's afraid.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to subject anybody to anything but the most dulcet tones.
Okay, well, this is why I don't have a cat. But then again, neither do you.
I just live with one.
Whether you want to or not.
But sometimes that's life, and it rolls back to taking those lumps. I love that cat. As much
That's good.
beef as we may have.
We all know cats and beef, the classic combo.
Ah, yeah. It's like a 1950s dish. Cats and beef.
Cats. It's like oh, what's the fucking hot dog and beans one called?
Pork and beans?
Pork and beans. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't like it just was eliminated from my mind.
I think you were overthinking it. You just gotta break it down to his basis elements.
Hmm. I couldn't remember hot dogs being called pork in that. That's all. Frank and beans.
Well,
I
they
was thinking of
barely
Frank and
are.
beans. Yeah. Listen, let me enjoy my processed sludge like the rest of the Americans.
Straight from the tube.
Oh my god. I can't wait till I find just the raw tubes just out in the wild.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my god. Make
You go to Oscar Mayer and be like, can I just get like a fresh pail all for me?
steal the recipe, rebranded as nature's tube meat. It sounds appetizing.
Oh yeah, our tubes are pasture raised, farm to table.
Mechanical farm, but we don't announce that part.
Farm's a farm.
Farms are far. It's gonna lead to some dangerous territory.
You don't think we're already in it?
No, we are just what's that fucking movie where there's the human farm for blood for the Vampire Society?
Um,
Oh god, actually this reminds me of what was it? Jordan Peterson recently tweeted out something he thought was Chinese torture, and it was actually just a fetish porn.
oh hell yeah.
And without going into details that make it way too obvious, it was kind of related to the idea of weird farms.
Oh boy.
Oh boy is right.
You'll love to see it.
Oh my god, just the fact that he thought he was trying to make propaganda out of somebody's fetish is still hilarious to me.
The Joe Rogan clip. Ah, I'm so gullible. I'm such a doofus.
I love that one. Oh, I'm curious. Grace had asked me this question earlier. Um, I don't know if it'll apply as much for you, so I'll open it up to comic books and novels. But what comic book, and if not that novel, would you want to see adapted into a TV show?
A TV show. Um,
Yeah, and I mean like good quality, like streaming service put effort into it.
I'd like to see Sandman get a season two, but apparently that's.
I
It
thought that was
sounds like
happening.
that's entirely off the table.
Really?
Yeah, this didn't
Could have.
get binge because it's a very thoughtful series, and so like I know Neil was upset about it, and a lot of the actors
Oh.
were.
A lot
But
of the metrics, I feel like going off of binged is such a stupid metric for Netflix too, because it's like, well, if you keep having good shows on there, they might get binged more if they're on there longer and build a reputation.
it's just
And
not a
if
sustainable model that they've built up for themselves.
no, and also, I know this is for me particularly. I don't know how common this is for others, but if I see a show has multiple seasons and I've heard good things about it, I'm much more likely to binge it.
Yeah,
I am much less likely to binge a one season show no matter what I've heard.
it's very hard to do that with this show in particular because it follows along with the comics very well, and uh, it really touches on some heavy themes.
Gotcha. Sounds
Because
like
have you
well,
ever read
it sounds like
Sandman?
I haven't. I know very little of it, but it sounds like Neil was involved pretty heavily in it, right?
Yeah,
And everything I've seen and heard about him seems to paint him as a wonderful individual.
He absolutely is. Like through and through. Um, Seems to be just a genuinely nice guy and a really talented writer. Uh, and so he got to play around in the DC universe a little bit. He created a character that I think was used in other stuff, Doctor Destiny, which
Oh
is
yeah,
not Doctor Fate. I had
yeah, no.
I learned recently.
Um, God, it sounds so familiar. I'm looking it up just to Doctor Destiny. Yeah, that's right. I saw him. He was commonly a in the comics at least a JSA villain, like old and new. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know much about him, but he seemed fairly menacing. Oh, and apparently he was a villain in the Flash show at one point too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because what I really like about Neil Gaiman's writing style um, is that how do I put this? He really he tells it like more folklore. Like his storytelling is more folklore based and not so much detail based. I don't know. It's really hard to dissect and describe, but uh, his language is a lot more free, I guess. But you kind of accept it within the context of the book.
Gotcha. I think I get what you mean by that. Like it feels like
Like it,
I'm trying to
there are
like
notes of it
think I understand
in
what you're going for. It's just a hard thing to describe.
yeah. Like if you've ever read anything by like Terry Pratchett or fuck, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide,
I can
um,
never remember his goddamn name. Where's Joe when you need him?
Douglas Adams,
Sure.
but they all have like this very kind of freeform concept building, and so things just kind of are, and that's the way they are, and you don't spend too much time questioning it because there's story to get to.
Oh, okay. It's a lot of soft world building.
Yeah.
That's the term for it. Sorry, it took me a second. Whereas like Lord of the Rings would be typically hard world building, where it's a very established thing.
Hmm.
And soft world building is kind of you get it as it comes, and it's just a thing.
Yeah, and Neil Gaiman deals a lot in kind of abstracts and stuff whenever he writes. Like he has this really cool book called Neverwhere, which is just kind of like this reality that you really don't perceive if you're not a part of it, I guess. If you have no involvement of it, you don't really perceive it because you're perceiving, your normal day-to-day life. But it just everything feels very whimsical and magical.
Do I have? I don't have a drink. I'll be right back, good sir.
Right on. Yeah, I got wasn't conversation there, but I do agree Dennis is a good character. Ira, you're welcome. Nah, I'm kidding. Ain't gonna bring some bullshit to this. It's really lackadaisical, really chill stream. This is an inviting stream, a stream where anyone can come in and really rest their weary head. All the horses are put away. All the steer are snoozing in their pen.
All right, I've returned.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I needed that water. Holy shit.
Everything's getting a little topsy-turvy with this sleepy boy here, but don't let it rile you up too much.
I don't know how to tell you this, but my jimmies are always rustled.
Not here, friend.
No, just me. Just me.
No, not here. Just let him
Just
let
me.
him go.
Travis.
No, it's okay.
It's a constant state. All right. Relative to everything else, I'm calm. It's just, my calm's a little different than your calm, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they can be vibrating, but really just kind of wrangle those jimmies in.
But
Put
what
put
if
the little nightcaps on them. Tell them no more jumping on the bed.
they vibrate and they gyrate? They don't know
How
how to stop.
rockets.
They don't know how to stop moving to the grooving. Travis, I don't know what to do.
They're party people. They're just on a different schedule than us.
Listen, party people in my pants is the last place I need them. There's nothing there. Not for them.
But part of Dallas philosophy is that sometimes you just have to embrace the rustling of the jimmies. Just let them rustle. And if you can't do anything about it, just move on. Embrace it, acknowledge it, and move on.
Okay, I mean, I'll embrace it, but I'm gonna walk like a newborn deer for a while.
That's okay. That's how your life moves forward. That's the best path forward that works best for you. Then take it.
That's been a good therapy session, thank you. Same time next week?
Yeah, of course, always.
Yeah.
8 p.m. here at twitch.tv/10paces.
Yeah. For legal purposes, not a licensed physician.
None of us are, and that's okay.
None of us. All of them that say they are frauds. Don't trust them.
I just meant none of us here. I don't think we have any physicians in the 10 Paces community, but they'd be welcome.
We need them.
Oh, it would certainly help.
This,
I've gotten
this is
dysentery more times than I care to admit, but
this is a call for help.
nah, this is a call for rest.
Oh, good night.
That's what I like to hear.
If I could commit to it, I'd take some more melatonin right now, but this would not end well.
I imagine it'd be a fun time.
I'd be relaxed. That's for fucking sure.
For sure. Really get into the sleepy vibe of this whole dang thing. I think I might have to do something about these blues though. The blue is such a nice, cool color. Ooh, yeah, that's a good feeling. When the line work you're doing all fills in.
The fuck? I think
A little more violet.
okay. I had like a weird patch on my screen of like coarseness. I think there might have been something on my screen, but I guess it's gone now.
That's okay. You just give it a second and move past the coarseness, and it'll all move on all right. Is that how it goes?
I think I killed it.
No, you just let it be and it does its own thing.
I mean, I think it's gone. I think it's dead and gone.
And it just moved on to its
It
own
also,
path, its own path forward,
your childhood dog, it just moved on.
as
It's
they
just,
do.
yeah.
All
The
things,
gerbil,
all things must move on.
your pet goldfish that went down the toilet, just moved on.
Yeah, they had other things to be getting to.
Cloud Sephiroth the third McBlaster, the goldfish, just, moved on. Just kept walking.
Yeah, and that's
As if
okay. You had to take the road less traveled.
the bull.
Yeah, I don't think most folks have been down that way.
Not the way the goldfish has.
No, not quite. That was his journey. You been up to any good relaxing activities?
I'm doing flats right now, which are pretty relaxing.
That's nice. It seems pretty methodical and nice. Not as much intensive as trying to, like map out and figure out shapes and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't like shapes.
Yeah, I
Kind of
just mean
piss
like,
me off.
trying to map out stuff in a 3D stuff in a 2D space can be pretty challenging on the mind sometimes. At least I find it that way. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where a lot of the difficulty of art comes from.
yeah, but that's okay.
That,
It's also where a lot of the excitement and the challenge comes in.
yeah, really, we're just toddlers playing with the shapes in the whole toy.
Basically, but the holes are fourth dimensional, and the shapes are constantly shifting.
I mean, everyone else is just playing Monopoly, but the rules change every day.
That's just Monopoly.
Mm,
Half the rules of
can't
Monopoly are house rules,
I can't disagree.
because by its base rules, Monopoly is a game designed not to be fun.
I really wonder if there's ever just been someone who's made a game like I want them to hate this game, and they've like found a way to make it fun, and the creator's just fucking livid right now.
I've been told that Monopoly was supposed to be a commentary, but it's hard to say. I don't know if the creator has ever expressed as much.
I feel like that's just a tale that caught on. That that
Yeah,
that one seems a little far fetched to me.
I mean, it does stagnate. Doesn't feel good. So game design wasn't really a well thought topic back then.
Nah. Excuse me. Don't know if the mic picked that up. If it did, sorry.
Oh no, we didn't hear anything over here. You're all good.
Good. Wouldn't want to wake up anybody.
We appreciate that. We're all about restfulness.
Better. Mm,
Double check my stream over here. Just make sure everything's on the up and up.
Can't wait till you do this one day and just be like, oh, well, I never went live. And we've been here for like 2 hours.
I wouldn't put it past me. And I wouldn't put it
But I mean
past
like
OBS.
intentionally though.
Oh, it's just where I really use this as a tool to really hang out with my friend Dakota.
Well, you don't
Put him
have
in this
to
space, really put him on, and
ignore Aaron in this.
I don't have to, but he's not here. He's
Well,
not here in Dreamland with us.
all right. Well,
And also, if he's here, I mean, half the time at least, most of the time, he's hosting.
so would that just mean he wants to spend time with us, or?
I mean, if that's the conceit of the hypothetical, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna say it has anything to do with him, but I'm just suddenly not that interested. I like, Travis, this is my way of saying I want to spend time with you. Like, let's just
I want
let's
to
just
spend
get
time
there.
with you.
All right. Well, your enthusiasm was kind of
Oh yeah,
made me
I
rethink this all.
couldn't want it too much.
Yeah, it's only fun if it's a chase for me.
Shit. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not
I'll have
saying
our
it's
different wants
over.
and
I'm
needs.
just we'll revisit this, okay?
That's cool. I'm cool.
Good, good, good. But don't pretend. I don't like pretenders.
No, I'm 100% real. I'm the realist.
Sounds like you might cry. Are you gonna cry?
No, the
Okay. I was saying it'd
yeah,
be pretty cool if you did.
no crying here in Sleepyland.
No, nobody cries before bed. No one would ever do that. It'd be
But
kind
it's
of weird, really.
no, it's. I mean, sometimes people
You
cry
know,
themselves to sleep, and that's okay.
really, you support that
We
here? That's
cherish
something
any kind of sleep.
that's something you support. You do you want to demonstrate, Travis? You gonna cry?
No, that's fine. I'm not.
All right. Well, would have been cooler if you did, but I guess you've made your choice. I think you fell asleep.
Me 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 me. Me 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 me.
If I ever meet somebody who actually falls asleep this way, I'm going to be so disturbed.
I think it only happens if you're wearing a
The little
cartoon
slipper
knit
hat.
cap with a ball on the end.
Of course, what was I thinking?
And you have to have a candlestick on your end table.
Does this remind me of Uncle Scrooge?
He really popularized the look, but
He was a trendsetter.
I
Of course. How could I not remember?
mean, his whole story was about dreams and sleepy
True.
time.
He would have been very topical on this.
Let me get rid of Sleepy Boy here so I can. Oh, where was I going with those?
It's time for him to wake up. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, no, not at all. We got a whole night ahead of us.
Are you gonna hold me hostage here? Is that what's happening?
Oh no. You're free to wake up
Alright.
anytime you want, Dakota.
That sentence terrifies me.
Anytime you want.
Please stop.
You've been asleep for so long. They miss you, Dakota.
No, they don't. Now, yeah, I don't believe it. You sold me. Now you've lost me.
They miss you on the other side. So we got a nice sleepy giant here. Gonna fill in some of those lines so we get a quick color in. I tell you, this past weekend I had a very nice low-key time. Like, honestly, both Saturday and Sunday. I just opted not to do much work and really was able to really take in the relaxation.
You gave yourself a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Usually it's hard to do that, but it was really nice.
I know what you mean. Curious to see if I take some days forcibly because Kaylee seems to have gotten sick once again. Uh,
Oh no.
my little sister, for people who aren't aware, but we'll see. Um, Apparently, I missed just vomit everywhere.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that and the person she got it from were both at my birthday party the other weekend. Yay!
You'll be fine.
Eh, I seem to be pretty lucky with not getting sick, knock on wood. But always worried.
I kind of hope we're setting off like a check off vomit here. By the end of the stream, you're gonna be hurling.
It's the worst version of that I've ever heard anyone spout out. I've heard it attributed to a lot of creatures and systems, but
It's the worst when you heard spout out until the end of the stream.
yeah, that was a special kind of God, I hate that. That was like an Aaron comment. Can we like get him on the show for a few minutes just so I feel like he said it instead?
Sorry, I blacked out there for a few seconds. What's going on? We still saying sleepy and calm over here?
Anyway, good night.
Ah, nighty night.
So I'm currently working on some stuff that is I'm flattening some stuff. It's really well drawn, but it is incredibly detailed. So it just takes forever, but it is hands down the best drawn stuff I have ever worked on, and I'm
That's
kind
the
of
price of
jealous.
art.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous I'm not the one coloring it.
Oh, you're just doing flatting?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll save that color some time and get to work on some more of this artist stuff in the future.
Did yeah. I have somebody flat for me, so I flat for other people, so money is kind of the same. And part of it's just so, I'm not staring at the pages I have to work on all the time. At a certain point, it kind of is just like I cannot stare at this stupid thing anymore, no matter how good it is or whatever. It's
Yeah,
just
you
a
need a little
certain
break.
point. Yeah. So I'm checking on the person who flats for me. They're doing quite a wonderful job. That page doesn't have the lines turned on.
Turn them on. Don't wake them up.
They don't know the characters' colors, so it's so interesting seeing what they choose. Not that it matters. I'm assuming you got it a while ago where Kyra said they couldn't hear me.
That was a joke.
Wow, really? It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's pretty cruel. They may not have heard your initial statement, but also, I don't know if they were expecting to hear you in the pre-roll, the opening beats, because I just kind of did my a little sleepy monologue to intro the thing, and you weren't really heard in that for a little bit.
Gotcha.
I was stealing all the starlight over here.
Oh, and I guess they knew I was here because of the Discord bubbles. Okay.
But nah, we're good. We're copacetic. Everything on surface level seems to be functioning properly.
Oh, back to that thing. So Sandman, kind of a cheat answer because it's already happened. You just want a season 2, which makes sense. Because I also had a
Yeah.
cheat answer, which was Deadly Class, which is also bring it back for season 2 because Sci-Fi canceled it, even though it was their highest rated show while it was on. And when it went to Netflix, in multiple other countries, it hit number 1.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, to me, that's a pretty clear sign that Sci-Fi made it oopsie.
Yeah. They aren't known for their tremendous success.
Yeah, because then they made the same mistake with The Expanse, if I recall,
I didn't know they were
where
behind The Expanse because when I started
I
watching it, it was already on Amazon.
I believe they were the original before they canceled it after season 1 or 2. So like they had a history of making this mistake. I could have the show wrong. I just know it was a sci-fi show largely in space. So I could have the
Hmm.
wrong show, but I believe it was The Expanse. This was a while ago. Um, but that was my cheat answer. I'm curious. Do you have one that like hasn't been adapted at all?
So comic or manga, right?
Uh, Comic was what I was given, but I'm just curious in general. Comic, manga, novel, just media, really.
Okay. Um. Ooh, that's tough. I think. No, you suggested series. I have one that I think would make a really cool movie.
Oh,
I Kill Giants.
okay. I think
I believe it
you've told
was
me about this before, right?
published by Image, but yeah, it's just a really cool. Um, Maybe I only associate it with Brian Lee O'Malley because of the I don't know the time frame in which I read it, but it's just a very it's kind of sad, kind of heartfelt, um, cool little story with a twist.
Gotcha.
So I think it's a really nice. It was just such a cool comic.
One I might have to check out at some point.
What's your real answer?
Mine was Black Science. Um, but it's actually also by Rick Remender, the writer of Deadly Class.
Ooh,
But yeah, it's also by one of my favorite artists, Matteo Scalera. but it's a really good story, I think. And I think it's the kind of show that could very much be like a good solid 2 or 3 seasons if somebody wanted to get their meaty little claws into it and expand it out. It's got room to grow without interfering with the story too.
Yeah.
But it's already got fun characters and stuff going on. You don't need to mess with it. Just throw money at Rick Remender. That's what I want.
Yeah. I definitely do see the. You don't always want it to be like panel for panel what the comic was. Like you want to reinterpret it in ways that, you want to do things that it couldn't experience in comic format.
Yeah, and
Like
that's
an example I go to is Scott Pilgrim, the movie, doing the Seinfeld gags,
okay.
because it was just a fun little gag that they couldn't do in comic, and it only adds to the thing as a whole. Because it was funny, but it didn't detract from it didn't impede on the story at all.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. You always have to try to reinterpret it a little bit. That is part of why I wanted it to be something Rick Remender made, though, because he has history in film and TV before this,
Hmm.
and also that's exactly what he did with Deadly Class. Was he reimagined a lot of the stuff that was happening, kind of like what Kirkman did with Walking Dead and Invincible, where story details got changed around or presented in a different order, or new things happened.
Yeah, like a lot of the characters were, I would say, a lot of the characters were more likable in the Walking Dead show,
Yes.
because that's what you need, and you want, like, if you're looking at them, you want it to be a much more human piece.
Yeah, like Glenn especially is one that sticks out.
Yeah.
Maggie too. Um, Rick is pretty close, but still more likable. Herschel. Herschel is almost like an entirely different personality.
Yeah, I heard Dale was worse in the comics. The guy with
Um,
the guy who owned the RV in season one.
yeah, but no, I think that's just a yeah. Just a yeah. There was a lot of differences. Shane was a better character by miles in the show.
Hmm. Oh, in the show.
Yes. In the comics, he is not much of anything. There's some pretty drastic differences. Um, and it all comes down to a character that gets killed in season 3 of the show due to the showrunner not liking the actress, and it massively changes the way things have to play out in the later
Hmm.
portions. But
Yeah, see, that's another thing, is that it's such a. There's so many other factors weighing in on the production of TV or movies. There's so many
yeah,
moving parts that it can't be just whatever like it can in a comic, because in a comic, it's only at the limit of the writer and artist's abilities.
yeah. Like characters losing limbs is a big one that's different.
Yeah.
Uh, just to be there's a lot more maiming in the comic early on. Uh, After seeing the show, I finished the comic a couple nights ago. Um, and one thing that really stuck out to me is, holy hell, the actor for Negan did such an amazing job.
That's something I have kind of a hot take about.
Go for it.
I think he overacted it. I like he took it just a step past the line in a lot of his deliveries and some of the just some of the silly interactions. Like he was a little too silly with it for how unsilly everything else around him was.
See, I think to me that was the whole charm of the character is he's just so fucking ridiculous. And yeah, overacted definitely, but I think that's also the character in a nutshell is everything's overdone.
Yeah. But
I think it's
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's emphasized a lot more later on in the comics. Once he's I don't want to say too much because it's a pretty big spoiler, but once
Mm-hmm.
things change about his dynamic in the comic, it's a lot more noticeable that oh, he's kind of comic relief.
Gotcha.
Um, I will say his introduction leads to one of the worst cliffhangers I've ever seen in television, though. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, because that was the season finale, wasn't it?
Yeah, if I wasn't watching on Netflix, like that's such a bad cliffhanger. Like fuck that network for doing that.
No,
Cause
no, but
I mean,
that's how you do it. It's how you keep people talking, after the show is done so they don't lose steam. Because the show as a
I
whole
think
was losing steam because it was running for 1,000 seasons and had 1,000 spin-offs. And
yeah. And you've read the comics. You know how fastly the comics get done with the first few seasons. Like it's absurd they got that
I
many
actually
seasons out
haven't
of
read
that.
the comics.
Really? Okay, that might be
Yeah.
part of why. See, at first I was really curious about how Negan was in the comics, and uh, I'm curious if reading the comics would change the way you feel about that performance.
Maybe, but again, it comes down to uh, adapting it to screen. Because, like, if you're gonna overplay a performance, I don't want it to feel jarring, I guess. And that could have very well been on the editing as well.
I'm curious on that one. Um, I will say, and I don't know if this will help or hurt where your opinion is. A lot of the lines for him are straight from the comic.
Okay.
So he didn't like the I could only spot a few minor changes, but I recognize line for line some of the stuff he said there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the show does a lot. Like Carl's a better character in the comic. But they also bring characters that were nothing in the comic and make them much more enjoyable.
Hmm.
I would say you get a less of the CW annoying drawn out drama at really weird times.
No red
Um,
sails.
yeah, believe it or not, they're actually nicer to Herschel in the show. Which, if you have watched, I mean, you've watched some of the show, which that's, oof, the comics are
Yeah.
rough for that character.
Why isn't this erasing? What am I doing wrong?
But yeah, um, yeah, Walking Dead is also a very strange example for this whole topic, though, as
I
well,
didn't.
because of um how, as you mentioned, how drawn out the show is.
Oh, I've got selection still. Sorry, I was
You're
fumbling
figuring shit
over
out.
my own art here. Yeah.
I'm sure you still heard me and understood the point. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about that.
Um. Yeah, I definitely appreciated his whole take to adapting because Invincible was also really well done.
Yeah, I think he does a really good job of thinking about the choices he makes and changing things. Like on a second he really treats it as like a revision on top of being
Yeah.
like what works for TVs or TV, what doesn't work for comics. Um the comics early on do a really poor job of setting up the atmosphere, and we really blow by the characters you're introduced in the first episode extremely fast. Um
Huh.
and the show does such a better job of presenting that just because you have more time in TV. You get body language, you get, a lot more acting.
Yeah.
Whereas it was just a couple pages in the comic.
Yeah. Things hit home a little bit more. I think I
That
mentioned
did
it on. the show on Monday or some other day. Like I have such a hard time if I'm reading something, especially if it's like a manga, uh, remembering all the characters' names because I'm usually just blasting through it while like on lunch break or something.
Yeah. Um, I will say it did have an opposite effect with some of the characters where we had them on screen for longer and it actually made them worse because the writers took them in really bad directions. Like some characters have character arcs that are completely cyclical and end them back in where they were, like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of another character arc. So they literally have bounced between the same like cycle of learning and unlearning the behavior they just went through. And not in a planned way. Like in a very like you clearly just forgot this character's already done this. Um, and I'm just being vague for the sake of spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll talk about the early stuff because most people know the early stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you plan on circling back to Walking Dead at this point, God help you.
I mean, I did, but I was watching it while I work, so it's not like it was.
Like, did you just start watching it recently?
No, no, I'm on season 9 of the main show and 3 of one of the spinoffs.
Right, so it's not like something you just started watching, though.
No, no, no. I started about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I get to just have it playing while I work,
Gotcha.
and it's largely easy to ignore since I know the base of like what happens with a lot of it. Um, I will say it made me realize something I usually tend to like a lot more in comics, and it was an odd one for me realizing it is character deaths. Um, because I feel like Walking Dead show versus the comic in particular, the show handles some of the shock value stuff or some of the more drawn out deaths or some of the foreshadowing really poorly, whereas the comic does an usually a better job, I feel like. But what really gets
Mm-hmm.
me is seeing a character deal with another character, like going through grief or dealing with another character's death in that comic. Kirkman and the artist Charlie Aldrad, I believe it is, had a really cool way of having Rick deal with some of the characters' deaths. Like it
That's cool.
was really fun. Like pages of this character going through shit in such a fun way. Really creative paneling, like stuff unique to that medium. Which that's what really caught my attention. Because if you were to adapt it one for one to TV, it would feel supremely overdrawn, or not prolonged, severely prolonged, is what I should say.
Yeah. You gotta kind of keep it moving in that format. Here. Um,
It also feels like such a more deliberate choice in comics where you have a limited amount of pages.
yeah. Like, there. I think it's something recently that, like, just reading it really sent shivers down my spine. I don't know, it's lost. If I think of it, I'll bring it up on another episode, but
Gotcha. Uh, just since we're on the topic, and I recently finished it. The way The Walking Dead ended their comic was kind of a huge troll, because Kirkman had the artist Charlie draw 3 covers past the end so they could make fake solicitations so nobody would know it was ending.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was all the covers were a tease to what was how it was going to end anyway. So it's just really fun just to see that's like, yeah, we wanted it to be a surprise.
That's
I
neat.
was, yeah, I really appreciated it because had I not known previously that the series was ending and I was going issue to issue, I certainly would have been caught off guard.
Yeah.
It was also super satisfying ending. You get I feel like you get all the answers you want, and I don't know how many things in general with zombie media where that ever happens. So that was super fulfilling. Like you normally
Nice.
like I think the only thing that was answered wasn't answered was how it started, which I feel like that's also one of the least important questions.
Right. It doesn't matter because they're in it, and
Yeah.
that's all there is to think about. Okay.
Kind of like that, honestly.
What's that?
That really dark lighting on top.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, kind of making like a sleepy going on, but I think I'm gonna play off the starlight.
Starlight, Starbright.
That's just for a kind of a general shadow going on.
The general. He's arrived.
Oh, 877. Save some time.
Oh my god, where's Shaq to tell me how to make a good deal on my car insurance?
I've always been here, Dakota. I'm always happy to help.
Um, thank you, Shaq. So
Hey, you know it,
glad you
bud.
so glad you could make it to 10 paces today. We've been trying to get you on for months.
Hey, Dakota, you know I'm always here for you.
I
Always
appreciate it.
always here to slam dunk your problems away.
You know, sometimes it's hard being the only tall guy in this room, and you know, you just make me feel short in the right way.
Glad I could help.
Thank you. Just, you know, someone to knock me down a peg.
Nah, I ain't here to shack attack you. I'm here to lift you up.
Be gentle, I'm fragile.
Come with me to the rim.
Uh, rather not discuss my rim with you, sir.
That's fair. Gotta know when to put up that defense.
Fucking I hate it. You broke me with that one. I was like, there's no way he can keep this up. Should have known never to challenge Shaq on defense. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm Shaq. I can keep it up forever.
Oh my god. He's gonna be sponsoring Viagra next. Oh, I have been
Sure.
flooding. I've been fucking flooding Victorian dresses for so long.
Ooh, are you able to say who the artist is on the comic you're working on currently?
Um, I don't know. Let me go find out.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, no pressure if not. I was just curious. Also, I found a little local comic shop that I like, and I think I might start going to. If you have any recommendations for any indie stuff I should be putting on a poll list, definitely let me know.
Ooh, I don't think I know much of the current stuff. I think the only current thing I'm picking up is Saga.
Gotcha. Certainly going to be putting Isolation on there. And a few others. I don't know if. I'm not sure how distribution works and if I'll be able to put Isolation on a pull list, but if not,
Um, I
I
don't.
just want both the distributor and the shop to benefit.
Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, they've announced it. Okay, so the artist is Damian Torres.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a project called Galarian. Um, are they a graduate from the school? I want to say they are. Not positive on that, but I think they also graduated from Cubert.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, I just
Was it just
wanted to make sure.
someone, some work you got hooked up with through a connection, or?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just Damien doesn't even know me. I'm working with the colorist. The guy I
Oh,
usually
okay.
yeah, one of the two guys I always work with.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm just his assistant on this. But Nick treats me extremely well. He's a great friend and boss.
That's good.
Boss sounds weird because we really just help each other out.
Yeah, and I mean that's how creative community has to grow.
Hmm.
Is that we all build each other up and try to build things up to help others up behind us.
And then when it comes crashing down, we steal as much as we can.
Yeah, we loot, we riot.
And we do it in fucking style.
Oh yeah, we're a bunch of fucking art dorks. You telling me this shit isn't gonna be like esoteric and kitschy as fuck?
Definitely esoteric. That's like a must.
Oh yeah, we gotta imply that there's some deeper meaning behind our bullshit.
Oh my god, I can't wait till somebody. I'm waiting for the day where I write or draw something and somebody and like applies that to it, and I can just be like, mm-hmm.
Death of the artist. You don't even matter, Dakota.
Oh
At
my
that
god.
point, only their relationship with your media matters.
And honestly, that's something I love about it too. Like, if you find some cool meaning that I may have accidentally implied in something, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm
I
going
don't
to
think you
let you
can
enjoy it.
accidentally imply something. I think it has to be a very conscious decision to imply.
Okay, fair. If they accidentally derive something,
Yeah.
you've got a point there. That was a poor word choice, you know. But I just,
Because it could be dangerous to. Because that has gone in dangerous directions before.
yes.
Like with Hussey and the whole re-upload. I don't know if you remember that whole debacle.
I don't know I don't know if I was ever aware.
Um, there was a scene where it was during the fuck, I forget what it was even called. Whenever they went all silly with their candy bullshit or whatever. Um,
Oh god, I don't grist that stuff.
no,
What's it?
they had like a very silly mode, and it he was essentially doing a joke off of the community and how they, I don't know, people were getting upset about representations of the characters, even though it was never a, never a focus or an intention of his. Um, and he
So
drew
the
a
community.
character as with like pale human, like pale Caucasian skin, and had them saying as a gif, "I feel so
Oh.
Caucasian." And he was
Okay,
doing
he
it
was.
as a stab at the community, but then he had to backtrack and take that down because some real awful people were, using it as a, I don't know, leverage in a shitty sub community.
Okay, so basically people made their own head canons, and when the creator made fun of them, he caught actual flack.
He made fun of the people who were getting up in arms about it, like the people
Oh, like okay, the people who were being anti-fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then it backfired because some actual internet racists kind of took it as a win for them.
Ooh, okay, now I see. Yeah. And they're always looking for a cause to convert to their own because they're a bunch of little freaks.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if this was going like a people were hating fun or it was people getting mad because I know this happened with My Hero Academia where people's headcanons weren't the truth and they got really fucking weird about it. And like the author
That,
received death threats. So I wasn't
oh
sure if it was
yeah.
that or this
No,
other one.
that's just fan entitlement.
Bunch of freaks. Stop it. You're not the author. You can draw your fucking weird ships all you want. Don't expect the author to make it canon.
Yeah, it's like I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like when we were at Jeffco, just is it the height of nerd being an identity?
Boy, if that's
And
not true.
it just took such a weird, I guess it was always weird, but to have identity invested so much in media you really had no part of, but that just went off the rails. And I think like gamers were a huge example of it, but also anybody who gets upset when their show doesn't go the way they want it to and
Yeah.
thinks that they have any leverage in that world.
And I think a big misconception a lot of those people had at that when that because I know exactly when you're talking about and people annoyed me with it is it's perfectly valid to criticize when a show you like has bad writing or does bad things with a character in the sense of like it just doesn't make sense, it feels lazy or shoehorned in. And being like, that's kind of shit. That's
Yeah, but
fine.
valid
But
critique, not just
being mad because this character wasn't this weird sexuality I derived from one interaction 2 seasons ago, or this character didn't say my exact line I wrote in my handbook.
exactly.
So anyway, I
So
messaged
Castiel should
Robert.
have said for the win.
Yeah, so anyway, I didn't like the way Carl's actor delivered a line, so I emailed Robert Kirkman, and he told me he was gonna kill off my favorite character. Um, and I wasn't really sure how he was gonna pull that off because the show and the comic are done, but he threatened me.
Oh yeah. Um, and who was your favorite character?
I don't know because I really just spent about 2.5 hours telling him about how he wrote them all wrong.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I must have let something slip on there. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, this is where we find out an actor is going to wind up, with their severed head in your bed tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't think about that. He could get the actor themselves. Man, what commitment to a role.
Mm-hmm. Kirkman doesn't fuck around.
Holy shit. God damn it. I don't want to say do you think it is it a spoiler if it's a season premiere that it's like who Negan kills? Do you think that'd be a spoiler if I say?
Spoiler alert. If you're
It
watching this and it's about The Walking Dead season from like 8 years ago.
that is that old
Um,
holy shit.
you care, then
Fuck off for five
I don't
minutes.
know. Sucks to your Asmar.
Um the comic because Kirkman kept a tradition of having letters mailed in and he would talk to the fans. And he kept it going the entire series, even though by the time the series was done, email was a thing. So I really thought that was cool. Um he gets a really, really fucking angry letter about killing Glenn, like talking about this
Wait,
horrible
Glenn
way.
dies?
Oh my god.
Can we continue?
Uh, I don't wanna. He gets this really angry letter from a fan about when Glenn dies, saying like this really obscene, like off the wall way that he hopes Kirkman dies and has pain and how he doesn't know how to write a character. And it's like, it is scathing. This guy fucking hates Kirkman for what he does. And you get to the end of the like page and a not page and a half, it's like half a page letter. Um, and you see it's signed, and it's signed by Glenn's actor Steven Yeun. He fucking wrote in about his character's death in the comic to yell
Ah,
at Kirkman.
that makes me so happy.
And it's even funnier because he fucking voices Invincible too.
Hmm.
So it's like you can tell they've been good friends or became good friends.
Yeah, that is delightful. What a good sport.
Ugh. Arf.
Anyway,
I mean,
I know we got a little energetic, but I think it's time to go to bed. Mom says Mom says we're being too loud. But I hope you all enjoyed it here at our little 10 paces slumber party. And maybe we'll have a couple more of these. Uh we've got one big slumber party coming up, but we aren't doing any sleeping. We're busting out the pizza rolls, we're busting out the Mountain Dew. It's gonna be a good time.
God, I think you gave me flashbacks. Well,
All
that was
right.
Dr. Pepper.
Anything you want to say before we let our little heads hit our little pillows?
Um, read comics, support creators, high five artists.
Ah, that's good. Good words to really mull over while you're laying that head down. Good night, everybody.